Hi, Greg Lewis, MetaStock Software. Your presentation will start in about 30 seconds. I just want to take a moment to tell you about an incredible market analysis tool and how you can get your own free 30-day trial. MetaStock is an award-winning software and data package that has helped traders just like you for over 30 years. It provides powerful, customizable tools for every trading style that will help you manage your positions from entry to exit. MetaStock can quickly identify, test, and even forecast potential winners. Want to find out more about MetaStock and how it can help you in your trading? Visit metastock.com/YouTube to get more information and find out how to get your own free 30-day trial. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy your presentation.
We can even see that from this length of this bar visually. We are very visual trader in Superior Profit, both the Q charts and the way we set up icon. Just by looking at these bars we can see Fold is actually one of the best performer of the day as of this list is concerned. So coming back to Q charts, in hop on template we have relative performance tilting up, and that checklist is met. Next checklist says candle shape should be bullish, hollow, or one with longer tail. You know, candle people study in many ways, but we have found the easiest way is just to note whether it is hollow, solid, it has long upper tail or long lower tail. That seems to be enough. That seems to be enough for Q traders. So yes, it is hollow, so that is bullish. That checklist is also met. And then acceleration to be bullish. Note that for headwind trade, because we are trying to catch the bottom, it's a reversal trade, it has no requirement for speed or momentum to change. Only acceleration to change is enough, because by the time others change, in this case speed and acceleration, the top is acceleration, then speed, both has changed, momentum hasn't changed. If we wait for all three to change, it may be too late. And this is a beautiful case again where it has signaled, even though to bare eye the stock is in sharp downtrend, you can say quite from here, fell down, went up, fell down again. In this leg it was in sharp downtrend. It could indicate that there is a potential for it to move up. So for the daily checklist is met. Now we are at the right edge of the chart, so now we can also look at the weekly chart requirement, because weekly will be exactly as it is today. For a headwind trade signal, the weekly chart requirement is any of the following, any of, and here it is not all of. For long trade we look at the middle bar. So let's look at the weekly chart for Fold now. How we do it? Actually we have created a template at a glance where we have combined weekly and daily, and when we run Sonar, when we run Explorer, we have a stock in that list. We simply open it using this template, weekly, daily. That speed up our trading decision, and the chart looks like this. Okay. Now you see, as I mentioned, our templates look all different. So just by looking at the template, I know on the left hand side we have a hop on template, and we went through the checklist. It meet all the criteria for taking a headwind long trade, and it happened to be at pendulum low. On the right hand side, just by looking at the chart, we know it's a weekly chart, we can see here, but it's using a backdrop template. And what is the requirement of the weekly chart using backdrop? Candle shape, backdrop candle color should be bullish. Okay, backdrop candle color should be bullish, cyan. That is not met. That requirement is not met here. That requirement not met. It is magenta. Magenta we know it's bearish. Magenta red are bearish, so it is not cyan, it's not bullish. That requirement not met. And candle shape is bullish, hollow, or one of longer tail. Now you note because we are trying to catch the bottom, here it says any of the following, not all of the following. So the second criteria is met. It is actually hollow and with a long lower tail. And now if you look at the criteria, you will see how beautifully it is synthesized. It just requires the acceleration to be green, which was green. It just requires one of the conditions, either the backdrop color to be cyan or candle shape to be bullish. If we didn't do that, we will not be able to catch the bottom. By the time it moves up, it becomes cyan and bullish candle, or if momentum need to be green, it will move already to value area probably, or beyond that, and we'll miss the chance. But in this case we didn't. So going by the rule book, we can see that yes, fold actually has a potential headwind long trade. This session is not for recommending any stock idea, but as far as the superior profit checklist is concerned, it has a potential long trade headwind reversal long trade. Interestingly, on the weekly chart, it also happens to have kind of triple bottom. Double bottom is here, and if we include this bottom, is a triple bottom, and this was a very sharp drop. So this sharp drop started from 25th September. It's end of September 2015 till it is June. So September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June is end of June, is almost 9 months. The stock hasn't moved much as far as weekly chart is concerned. Of course, daily chart there is movement. Weekly chart, it did take out the low of the September, but now it is creating a kind of surely double bottom on weekly chart, and maybe a triple bottom where we have a headwind trade signal. So one could take, if one is not so risk averse, one could take a bottom catching trend reversal headwind long trade at this point. Initial target will be middle of the boundary line, so say somewhere around this level. Stop loss will be just below this recent low. Again, we can use the hop off template. Let me use it for a moment. I will not replace the existing chart for now. So the stop loss in this case, again, interestingly, you will see sometimes the stop loss is very close. It automatically calculates based on the volatility. That is good for us. The stop loss is right below this red candle at this point. The initial target can be somewhere here, and that's how one could think of taking the trade. Now, personally, when I look at it, just do I take the trade? Firstly, I have my own list of symbols. I try to find trade only from that list, and by having and keeping an eye on that small list, only 111 stocks in US market, I tend to have an idea of how the stocks are performing. But if somebody refers me another symbol, I don't mind looking at it, but then I also look at icon. If I don't know enough of a fold, I don't need to know a lot for my trading style, superior profit way, using Q charts, MetaStock icon, but I do look at certain things, and let us look at those things. This was a Indonesia stock some of my friends referred, so I was looking at it, but let's look at fold. So fold today went up by 8.6%, and this is an overview of the stock. There are many different views, but let's look at some aspects of icon and how I use it. Okay, now we can change the duration here, but we can see in 1 year fold. If we look here, when I come at the 1 year point, fold went down by 60%, and in the same period SPX here, same period, SPX virtually unchanged, went down by 1%, almost nothing. So fold came down a lot. Now, you know, biotech companies, this is a biotech pharma company, this can go up or down a lot, and if we are long-term investor, I prefer to enter the stock, a known stock, which I know that is not going to go bankrupt. I don't know that about Fold. Fold is not in my standard stock list. But if you know about Fold, it's a good company and it is at pendulum low. It has went down by 60% in last 1 year. Then it may be a good chance. What else do I look at? I see if any earnings date is coming. And in the events panel here, I can see the earnings date is somewhere between, as of today's knowledge, somewhere between 3rd to 8th August. BMO is before market open. And now it is 20th June. So we have reasonable number of days for at least taking a swing trade and probably book half profit and turn the rest half into a long-term investment. That is one approach. Now, so this event I look at and I see any news is there. There is no news. That's fine. Trading based on news doesn't help in my experience. But it is good. There is no news. Maybe after we enter the trade, some news will come up. That happens quite often. So those are few things I look at. Of course, you can look at many other things in Icon, including how its peers are doing. This is also something I look at. And I see today all its peers are doing well. All its peers are positive except one. So this is a sector good to go into now probably, yeah, or at least this stock. We have to look at each stock's chart before deciding. There are other information about analyst recommendation that doesn't help much because by the time the analyst recommendations change, the stock moves quite a lot in my experience. So I don't use it in my trading. And then those who are inclined towards fundamental analysis, they can have many more information related to earnings per share, revenue, etc. Again, I don't use it because by the time the earnings change, the stock moves quite a lot and I prefer to catch it at the lower point. So superior profit style can take breakout trade, but most of our trades are bottom catching or top catching, whereby we have a narrow stop loss and a larger profit target distance. That's a better reward risk ratio. We try to avoid taking breakout trades. So looking at Fold then, if there is no event coming up immediately, it's a biotech company, its peers are doing well, it dropped a lot in last 1 year. So it may be a good time to try to enter into the trade. And coming back again to the weekly chart, it had a good double bottom. If it goes up, the double bottom will complete and we have a headwind trade. So there is a potential long entry following the rule book. Doesn't mean it will make profit or not. We focus in superior profit in a disciplined approach based on a robust system. We don't try to make profit. Our experience is if we follow a disciplined approach using a robust system, the profit takes care of itself. How do I know? I know because again, if we look at the trade ideas shared in traders community, out of this last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, only one made loss, LVS. So that's quite good hit ratio. So we chanced upon Fold. We used it to explain relative performance headwind, and we did have a proper headwind setup here. Now we will continue back with the hop on template. Let's see if any other signal is pending. We look at the traffic light band, upper boundary, lower boundary. We looked at flow color, the 4 direction lines, the movement activity. Now there is something additional to be said about the direction lines. We mentioned already about the fast and standard direction lines, and those were required in the checklist for go with flow. So when a stock starts to go down, if you are trying to take a short trade like here, the requirement was both the cyan and magenta line to tilt down. What about the other lines? Let's look at them. Now other lines can be used in multiple ways. One way is if we look here on this magenta candle, that's the bearish flow color, potential optimal entry point. If the stock is in downtrend on 7th June 2016, our standard requirement is only magenta and cyan to go down. But on top of that, if the yellow is also penetrated up and came down, meaning yellow is also starting to go down, price just tried to go up and came down, that acts as additional confirmation. How do I use it? Suppose I run Sonar and I come across multiple stocks. Fold is one on this day, Amicus Therapeutics on 7th June as potential short. There may be other symbols coming up as potential short, and if I want to take a short trade and only one, I have to choose one of them. And if I see fold has also yellow line starting to go down, then I prefer to enter fold as a short. That is how I use yellow line. It's not a required checklist, but I use it to choose one of multiple potential trades. And it looks like a ribbon, I mean a ponytail. So when multiple direction lines starts converging and then going down again. So this is an optimal entry point. That's how I use the slow direction line, and the similar way the very slow direction line could be used. It is not often, it's not very often that all the four come together, but if all the four come together and we have a long signal, go with flow or short or long, then it gives additional confirmation. That's how I use the yellow line and the white line. There is another way they are used, and let me explain that. Let me try to find a place. Okay, so on this day 1st March, for fold, we had few things going on. First, the flow color was cyan, so that is a bullish. So we are looking for a potential go with flow long trade, and it would have come up in our explorer. If we ran go with flow long Sonar, it would have come up fold. We would look at it through this template, hop on, and we'll see that on that day the two direction lines, magenta cyan going up, traffic light is green, movement is green, all acceleration, speed, momentum are green, and the stock is moving higher high, higher low. This high is higher than this low is higher than this, so we have a higher high, higher low, and relative performance tilting up. And the last requirement was the candle shape is hollow, is bullish, and lower tail also, but it's bullish. So all the requirements of go with flow long, and you see I didn't have to open the checklist, but you could in the beginning. That was met on this day. And our stop loss will be just below recent low here. Our profit target will be upper boundary, so it would be hit. So we could have a profitable trade within one day, exiting the trade, and the rest could be put into break even or trailing stop, and it will get probably stopped out somewhere here. But we have a profitable swing trade already. Now, how I use the yellow line, if I am going to take a long trade and there is a yellow line which is declining, then that yellow line could actually act as a resistance. So I keep an watch on that. I have real-time data, so when price goes there, I may put an alert to myself that okay, price is hitting the yellow line. And even if I am at work, the alert will come to me. Where do I put an alert? People can do in many ways, but I use again icon, and here if I click the alarm button, alert, I can set an alert. So let's look at the price. Suppose I wanted to be alerted when price come here, and when I hover the mouse on this right hand bottom, it will show the price of that level. So it shows 7.34. Suppose I want to be alerted at somewhere 7.3. So what I do in icon, I go create a new alert. The instrument fold, criteria close. So if the criteria can be anything, but if you start typing, it will show all the possible options. Choose close for close asset, and greater than or equal to, you can choose multiple any criteria. And our price was, what was the price? That was 7.3. and then you can put a custom note in the alert saying so I can put an alert to myself that fold is at slow direction line. In this case, it happened the very next day, but in other cases, it could take few days. So it's useful to put the alert that fold is at slow direction line. See, profit is to be booked, and you can say maximum frequency once a day expires on how much. So if I am in an active trade, I just put a future trade, and later on, once the alert serves its purpose, I can delete it, and I usually put the pop-up as well as email. And then you can set it. Once you set it, then icon will take care of it and send the alert to me. And in alert manager, if I go, I should have one on fold. And I am also watching one mutual fund. And you know, icon can be used to analyze mutual funds also. This is a mutual fund, AIA Global Resources. I may discuss about it later, another day. But you can track everything through icon, be it stock, ETF, futures, mutual funds, etc. So we can see our alert is active now. So I'll close it. So that is how we can use the yellow line. It might act as resistance, so I put an alert to myself, and I have real-time data. I could decide to book profit at that point if the stock and the overall market was starting to go down. But in this case, it seems that the stock went straight up from the candle shape. So probably we'll just hold it and exit it at the limit price, at the original initial target price. That is how the yellow line and white line can be used. So last signal remaining to be discussed on the hop-on template are these memory lines. These are very smart, very smart and beautiful piece of work in my view, just as the headwind signal and the rest of the signals are. They can be drawn from as few as last few days to as much as last few years. So it just draws the necessary trend lines automatically, which also can act as a target, or it can act as an entry point. So let me explain that. In case of fold, we have a headwind signal, and our profit target is the middle of the boundary line. So somewhere here, let me draw it. So this upper boundary, lower boundary, so middle is somewhere here. We don't have to draw, but just for illustration I am saying. And our stop loss we saw is just below this red line using hop-up template, and our entry price is using real-time data close of today, just close of today. So we have very good reward risk ratio even for a swing trade, and considering that it is at pendulum low, we have a double bottom in weekly, it may end up being a long-term trade using trailing stop, and it will give us much bigger profit. Now how do we use the memory line? In this case we see memory, declining memory, again bearish things are red, so it is bearish. This could be our target. So in this case the target is actually beyond our value area, so we don't have to worry. But if for example we had a memory line, we don't have, but just I'm giving an example. If we had a memory line like this, declining memory line, and the price was too close to the declining memory, which acts as resistance for a long trade, we will not be taking that trade. That is how we use it also as a potential target point. But in this case that is not true, so we don't have any constraint, and the descending lines are bearish, that is the resistance line, and if we have ascending line, that will be bullish. Now they are used, the memory lines are used as a target or to avoid entering a trade, but they can also be used to actually enter a trade, and it can be used in very good ways. And let me take an example from some of the recent trades taken into community, taken in the community. Let me recall. WLL. Now this is the community page on the Superior Profit. You can access it through this community link from the home page. And in the community we have multiple forum. One is for USA market. In that recently there was a trade on WLL. That's an oil services company. Let me try to look at it. Okay, this was the posting made in community about trade opportunity in WLL, and it was posted on this day, posted 5 days ago. That was the initial post. Today there was a news on WLL, an oil and gas exploration and production company. WLL gapped down at open on the news and continued to go down to 11% plus loss from last day's close. Attached is the spotlight template. What is spotlight? This is again a compound template like at a glance. We saw at a glance has weekly backdrop and daily chart that is used for swing trade and long term. Spotlight is an equivalent for day traders. It has on the left hand side here, you can see immediately it's hop on, and the right hand side is fine tune. Hop on using daily, fine tune using 5 minute. 5 minute is the standard duration we use for our day trade or precision entry of swing trade. Of course, it can be changed in MetaStock to 10 minute, 1 minute, or anything that you like. Now this post was made as of 10:25. Now this community is not aimed to be a trade alert service. You all have free access to it. It is just to show how Superior Profit queue system can be used to enter charts. So probably you can say somebody is entering trade also. Probably it's not a trade alert service, and of course we trade at our own risk, but you can see a very useful piece of information, many pieces of information from all of these posts. So as of 10:25 on that day, this is how the chart looked like. So why don't we look at it and see how memory could be used to take a trade with confidence. On the daily chart, on the left hand side, I hope you can see the chart. Let me try to click on it. Okay, it makes it slightly bigger. On the left hand side daily chart, we can see a hop on template is overall going up till now, till this point, but then it came down, made a lower high. This is a lower high, so relative performance tilted down. We can't say that it is still in uptrend because already it made a lower high, it came down. But interestingly, it came down and open here. It's a solid candle. So as of that time, 10:25 a.m., it opened here and still came down, hit exactly at the memory line. So this memory line was already there, and I happened to look at it at this point. Actually, I am watching several oil services company because they are lagging. Though oil has gone up, this particular sector, oil services industry company, some of the companies are still languishing at pendulum low, and I'm looking for a long-term entry opportunity. Just like we caught a very good long-term entry opportunity in UNG at pendulum low. I'll share that trade soon. But I was looking at it's in my standard watch list, some of these oil services companies. So WLL is in there. There was no entry opportunity for me on this day because remember, magenta or red traffic light is falling knife. So I'm not going to enter a swing trade on this day. But no harm taking a day trade. So when I looked at it, I saw that based on news, it fell down a lot, but I don't care about the news. I keep aware of it, but I don't use it in my trading. It hit the memory line. And at that time, the fine-tuned 5-minute chart looked like this. So let me take this chance now to start explaining the 5-minute fine-tuned chart. We have at the top, the same traffic light band. We already know green is bullish. We are not going to take a short trade. red is bearish, we are not going to take a long trade. Yellow is neutral. At the bottom is activity, same meaning, thin is low, thick is high. Cyan and green dot are extreme and very high activity. So we see this is last day, this is beginning of this particular day when this snapshot was taken. The stock opened with a gap down. This magenta point, you don't need to remember this, but you will get used to it. But for now I'm explaining. In real life I don't really care about the name so much in day-to-day trading, but magenta is last day's close, and this blue line here, dark blue line, is actually today's open, and red is last day's low. So of course it opened much below last day's low, which is a gap down. The same thing we can see from the daily chart, clear gap down open. After gap down open, price moved 2 candle and then it started falling again, and then dynamically, based on real time, because it's 5-minute chart, it requires real time data, it starts drawing all these pivot lines. So we already had last day's low, red dot line, magenta last day's close, green last day's high. Remember, in our software, green is higher side, red is lower side. So it's easy to remember, last day low, last day high, last day close. Blue is today's open. Fine, we can see also from the chart today's open. Then after some time, automatically more lines come up. So this cyan line is useful. So it is early range. We say just after start of trading, the early trading range is formed. So this cyan is early range high and this cyan is early range low. The middle point is midpoint of early range. Fine. So we have early range high, early range low. It broke through the early range low, and that was actually a gap trading opportunity. I will come back to it, but right now let's look at the right edge as of this snapshot. What happened? It gap down opened, so it immediately became stretched, like the stretch signal we described in daily chart. It became stretched, and it's magenta, so it's very oversold. There was not even any red stretch, not oversold. It became straight away very oversold, continued to be very oversold. Traffic light changed to yellow, but stock is still falling, very oversold, and now we have a rubber band stretch release signal, up arrow, just like we had seen in a daily chart. Now, as I mentioned when describing decision template, daily chart, which had stretch release, it is a fast signal, and this fast signal is very useful for day trading. Maybe it alone is not enough again, but we already have exhaustion, extreme high activity going down. Then we have a up candle, solid up candle after a indecision. You can say doji-like candle, but we just say indecision because open close at same level. A lower tail slightly, so it's a bullish candle. But then next candle went straight up and a stretch release came. Until the stretch release comes, we are not going to enter a trade. So once this 5 minutes is complete, exactly at that time the snapshot was taken, and I was thinking that this could be a long opportunity. Will it make profit? I don't know, but I have several supporting indicators that it was stopping exactly at memory line, have a stretch release. It had an exhaustion in terms of activity, and for day trade, my next profit taking target will be the next pivot line, because we don't use boundary line, etc. for day trade. Those lines take several bars data to calculate, so we call those a slow indicator. So for day trade, we want to enter fast and exit fast. So we like to use the stretch release to enter the trade, also based on the fact because there it was just bouncing off the memory line on daily chart, and then take the profit at the opening of the day, which is also the early range low. With that in mind, this was shared, and let's see how it played out. And again, this is exactly how we make decision on the right edge. For our system, whether we look at the chart in the middle like here or at the right edge here, the unambiguity of the signal allows us to take the trade with equal confidence. Now, how the trade played out, it is explained sometime later at the end of the day, but let's look at it. Okay, how also another way of taking profit for my day trade, standard way is when I entered the trade, my stop loss is just below the recent low. So this was my stretched reversal at daily chart memory line entry point. So my risk distance was from entry price to the low. So one approach, just like in case of swing trade, when the risk distance is covered, which would be somewhere here, I book half my profit. By booking half my profit at my risk distance equal to reward distance, I ensured it is almost a risk-free trade. And in intraday chart, it is unlikely to gap down suddenly. So you can say it's a risk-free trade from that point. So in this case, that was my entry point. This was my half profit taking point, potential initial profit target for stretch release long entry, which is equal to the risk distance here. I book my profit, the remaining I can hold, and if I don't use trailing stop for day trade, because again the intraday charts tend to go up down. I just move the stop loss based on the new lows being formed or these new lines being formed, pivot points. So if I didn't exit the trade, the remaining half at the end of the trade will be exited. Now, one important thing is, if the trade was entered as a day trade, as was WLL, it must be exited by the end of the day. I was watching, and I am watching WLL or other oil services companies for a potential long-term investment, but this was not the day for that, because the daily chart was still flow color magenta. So it was not a day to enter a long trade for swing or long term. I will wait patiently, no hurry for me. But I took a day trade and therefore it was to be closed on the same day. Now this chart also explains how gap day trades can be taken. There is a separate book we have where we explain gap day trade, and this chart explains a beautiful day to take that trade. Now the gap day trade requirement is this: if the stock opens with a significant gap, up or down, doesn't matter. In this case, it had been a gap down day. Then when it breaks the early range, whether up or down, again doesn't matter, we take a trade in that direction. So in this case, when it broke through the early range low, we will take a short trade here. Where will be the stop loss? The stop loss will be on the other side of early range. So it will be somewhere here. Half profit will book as soon as the risk distance is covered. So at this point, potential initial profit target for gap short day trade, looking at the early range distance, we book half profit here. The rest half will be stopped out probably, but we will get good profit already. Already we get good profit. So this is also an example where an active day trader will take, using superior profit signals, a confident short trade, book profit, then other half will be closed when we take a long trade. Of course, when we take a long trade, the short will be closed, remaining half, and then book profit on the long trade also, partial profit half, and the remaining will be exited at the end of the day. So we explained here the fine-tuned template, the 5-minute chart, how to use to take a early range breakout trade. In this case, the early range breakout is a gap trade, gap short trade, and also how a stretch release, very fast signal, can be used to enter a day trade, not in itself by using the stretch release, but by using additional signal confirmation, like it was bouncing off from the memory line on the daily chart. So that is how WLL trade played out. Now we came to it while explaining how memory line could also be used very effectively in entering a trade. In this case, we use memory line on daily chart to enter a day trade on 5-minute chart. But it can sometimes be used to enter a trade on daily chart itself, in a swing trade basis. So let me find an example. UNG. Why don't we look at UNG? I mentioned that just like we are looking at oil services, we were looking at UNG when it was at pendulum low. And we'll see it was a beautiful trade that played out. But I am looking at the watch, we covered 2.5 hours. It's 7:30, past 7:30 p.m., 7:36. Why don't we take 5-minute break, Hunter and everybody? We look at UNG long-term investment, how it was found using pendulum law, and that will allow us to go to the pendulum template. But we take a let's take a, now it is 36. Let's come back at 7:45 p.m. EST. Okay, I'm back. Hunter, everybody, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you just fine. And before you get started, I just wanted to cover real quick. I've gotten a lot of questions about the system and the charts that you're using, Cigar. Everything that Cigar is using, minus the MetaStock icon or Zenith platform, is actually available in the Superior Profit Q Global add-on, specifically for MetaStock. Like I said, we were able to actually get this entire system, program it within MetaStock, and make it available to all of our users. So we have set up actually a trial for those of you who are attending this marathon session, where we will give you 3 months of the Q Global add-on for the price of one. So that means $99 for a 3-month trial of Superior Profits Q Global. And as you can see, and what Cigar references over and over again, is the community backing and the training and the support that you have along with this add-on. And it comes with everything that you've seen as far as the indicators, templates, explorations, so when he's finding his trade opportunities, etc. So if you have any questions on taking advantage of that trial, or if you want to get set up with MetaStock, just throw them in that chat box, or feel free to contact me at hunter.smith@metastock.com. I'll put that in the chat window, or contact Cigar. He will also be happy to get you taken care of as well. So just wanted to throw that in there. Cigar, go ahead and continue.
Okay, thanks, Hunter. Okay, now we said we look at UNG. UNG is something that was languishing at the bottom until March of this year, and it started to go up. And if you follow news in websites today, today it is saying that UNG, this natural gas or its equivalent future at NG, or NGC1, C for continuous, C1, NGC1 for MetaStock, it is at 10-month high. And there are traders who are breakout traders, probably taking a long-term investment on UNG today at 10-month high. But we, superior profit traders, got it much earlier. Now, interestingly, it did have a series of headwind signals, and this is hop on daily chart on UNG. And will we take any of these headwind signals? No, because headwind signal we want to enter when it is below the lower boundary, not already when it is close to value area. Remember, for headwind signal, it's a reversal signal. We don't expect the full trend to change. We don't know that. So our profit target is the middle of the boundary line, value area. If it is already closed, we will not take the trade. So we will not take a headwind long trade here or headwind long trade here, because price close is already near to value area. But it can be used to exit existing short positions. So if we had entered short earlier, it could be exited. Whereas this headwind signal, bearish headwind signal, it happened when price went outside upper boundary and came back, but not enough till the middle of the boundary line, value area. So we have very small risk, stop loss is narrow and reward is high. So this short trade could be taken, but not this too long. Now here we could take the long trades on both of these signals. And if we took the long trade, applying the rule book, this day will stop us from entering the trade, because the headwind signal checklist we saw, it says don't take a trade if there is a upper tail. and that is same for go with flow also. Long trade we don't take if there is an upper tail, so we will not enter that trade. Whereas this headwind signal could be taken. As far as daily chart is concerned, we'll have to look at weekly chart as of that day, but as far as daily chart is concerned, if we apply the rule book we just saw, let me zoom in. The requirement is the traffic light candle color red or yellow, green or yellow, so it's green, fine. Headwind signal must appear, good, that has appeared. And again, a headwind signal that is cyan is at pendulum low. I'll come to pendulum low chart soon, but it's a pendulum low. Relative performance need to tilt up, it did tilt up, and only acceleration requirement is need to be bullish, green. So it had both acceleration and speed, green, but our minimum requirement is acceleration to be green. So this was a valid go with flow long trade. Candle shape is bullish, no upper tail, and it is far away from the value area relative to the risk. So a long trade would be taken here. So it could be caught, but it could be caught, it would be caught is a different thing. I don't know if anyone in superior profit community actually caught it on that day, but what I know is what was posted in the community. Let's look at it. So this was the first post on May 23rd, and this is how the at a glance template was looking as of that day. And I just click to make it bigger. So here we see that it is starting to go up, but as I mentioned, firstly it is still in downtrend. Right hand side, now you should know by now that looking at it, it's a hop on template daily chart. Hop on template has this movement, no other template has movement, and left side is very distinctive, magenta cyan color, it must be the backdrop. Weekly chart. So we see that it is still in downtrend. It is down, lower low is formed, lower high. So it is in downtrend. We are not going to take a go with flow long trade. So we don't have a trade opportunity here. We don't have a headwind signal, so we don't have a headwind long trade opportunity. But this is how we keep track of a stock or instrument, in this case ETF. The other reason we will not enter is because of the memory line. On the daily chart we have a declining memory, and weekly also, and it is forming a triangle on weekly. And on daily chart there is memory. Memory acts as resistance. If price is close to memory, we are not going to enter, but we can keep it under our watch. How it did play out, let's see. After this was posted, which was posted on May 23, then it was followed up by the subsequent chart few days later, and now we see, I don't know the exact date, but it actually broke out of the triangle in the daily chart and also on the weekly chart. Now what we have here is, let me see, I hope you can see, it broke out of the triangle in daily chart with very high activity. You just see the dot on the activity bar, thick line. Movement turned bullish for the first day. It broke out of triangle in daily. Relative performance tilted up. Upper boundary was still some distance away. Stop loss will be just below the triangle, below the swing low, which is also below this triangle inclining ascending line. And on weekly backdrop, we need it to be cyan to be bullish. It was bullish and it also came out of the triangle. So that was a potential long entry, and in this case the entry is out of a triangle. It also had a cyan color bar, so you could say it is a kind of go with flow, but it was probably not strictly in uptrend because it was inside a triangle. So you can say it's, instead of go with flow, we can say it's a triangle breakout entry and with high activity. So breakout trades, if we take like this, we like to still have stop loss narrow like in this case, and breakout trade is better to have accompanying high activity. So it happened. Let's see how the trade played out. So it was actually traded by some traders, and within a few days it had a 7% profit. This is the brokerage snapshot, but anyway we can see from stock chart also. and once it had 7% profit, it moved to probably to value area at somewhere near our initial target. So as a disciplined trader, we booked half profit. And soon after, it moved outside the upper boundary. As of this day, when this last snapshot was posted, it moved sharply outside upper boundary, then started to go sideways, you can say yellow, still in uptrend. And this is open template. On the right side, fine tune. As of that day, the fine tune had the early range formed. It broke down early range. At that time, it had 15% profit on remaining position. So personally, I exited the trade at that time. The trade using stock. I might have other position using future or options, but the position that I was having using stock, I exited half with 7% profit, remaining half with 15% profit. That was 14 days ago. I may have other position, but that's a different thing. So that is how we could capture the trade not using the headwind signal. Somebody might have traded using the headwind signal, but the entry was at least by somebody was made on 31st May. 31st May, that is this day, which is not bad. Now this is how, if we miss a headwind trade, no problem, it will give a go with flow signal sooner or later. What are the other days we could enter? We could actually enter every headwind. If the trend continues, will give rise to a go with flow trade probably. And this was the right hand side of this bar was a cyan candle flow color. And if we apply the checklist, traffic light green, relative performance tilting up, flow color cyan, great, movement green. So without looking at weekly, we can say, and it's a bullish shape candle, and it's already have higher high, higher low. So that was a go with flow long trade. So we could have entered it using the 4th March 2016 headwind signal long. We could have entered on 28th March. Somebody might have entered, but I had entered it using a triangle breakout trade as of this day. And now the declining memory has been erased because it is already broken. But as of this day, as posted in the community, this trade was taken. I had exited somewhere here, but then it continued to go up. Now, if I had not exited the full position, as in this case, when this bearish headwind came, I might not have, I might have exited some more, or tightened my stop, and then it continues to go up. So this is how we could capture the bottom of a long-term investment. And therein comes the pendulum template. It is a very simple template. For any robust stock or ETF which we want to enter long term, we prefer for it to turn into pendulum low. Pendulum low colors are again red, or even more down is magenta, but we don't catch a falling knife. When it is magenta, we keep in our watch list. So we could keep in our quote list. We could keep it our quote list in icon or in MetaStock. Here you can actually create a custom data list. Like I have a custom data list, many. You could create few on custom data list, that potential long-term entry opportunity. You could also keep an alert and then look for potential long opportunity. We saw a headwind signal actually came here on the hop on template, and a go with flow signal here, and a breakout entry here. When a valid long entry comes in a stock or ETF which is at pendulum low, that can turn into a potential and very profitable long-term trade opportunity. So this is how UNG bottom was captured at pendulum low, in this case using triangle breakout. And our traders had caught the low of oil also in the same way earlier, and also gold, and I'll explain on the pendulum template. Oil, as we all know, declined heavily. I'm looking at USO, that is the oil ETF. So when it come to pendulum low, we can see somewhere here we would have a go with flow long opportunity, because it went down, made a higher high, higher low. So this is 25th Feb. If we apply the hop on template, on USO. That's the United States oil ETF. It could be traded using oil futures also. I think 24th Feb, around here. I'll zoom in. So let me delete the memory line which is compressing the chart. Okay, in pendulum chart we saw it was making magenta sharp magenta drop, and then it started go up, and as of this day 25th Feb, now we see the trend is reversing. It is still at pendulum low, but as of this day we have a cyan color flow candle, relative performance ticking up, traffic light green, movement turned green. So a long could be taken here with stop loss just below recent low. We'll use the protection signal, initial stop loss here. Profit target will be upper boundary as of this day. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7th, 8th day the profit target will be hit. So half profit will be exited at that point, and as a long term it could be hold. When the headwind signal bearish came, another some profit could be taken, and the swing trader will probably exit the remaining with a stop loss, as the protection will be hit somewhere here. We can see if we switch to hop up, but you know by now it will, the protection signal will hug the price line, so somewhere here it will be hit for swing trader, and it could be re-entered again. Long-term investors, after exiting initial some position, they may hold the remaining with a wider stop loss. So that is how the bottom of the oil could be caught, and same for gold also. I will not go into gold, but we covered the pendulum template. It's a very simple template, and we can make a watch list. If you have a symbol list that you look at, then you can actually run for stocks which are at pendulum high and pendulum low and put it into icon and keep an eye whether they are giving an entry signal. Another way is to run an explorer on pendulum low, and it will show, if you see in the lower panel, last exploration result. So if you run pendulum low, it will give you a list of stocks that you keep an eye on which are at pendulum low, then run go with flow long and headwind long on the last exploration result. Like that you can select a potential long entry in a pendulum low stock. There are other ways. You can actually select multiple explorers. So for example, I choose pendulum low, and then I choose go with flow long. So I am trying to look for go with flow long opportunity in stocks which are at pendulum low. And if you go to summary, you have this data, but before that, here you have a radio button on the right hand side of the panel. Use the results from the preceding exploration. If you choose that and go to summary, now you have two. So we want to run pendulum low first, so just click the arrow. So now by this order, what it does, it runs the scanner on your stock symbol list, which is in this case this 111 symbols I chose here, 111, but it could be your own list. It tries to find which are in pendulum low, and out of those it tries to find is there a go with flow long candidate. So in one shot you can find out stocks that can give a potential long candidate in stocks which are very low, and that is how we would have caught, for example, this day, or in oil we saw in around February we could have got the low point for long-term investment. So this is pendulum low. Let's look at the pendulum template as a whole. So we have traffic light at the top. We already know that. We have relative performance. We have memory trend line. We have upper boundary, lower boundary, fast and standard direction line, magenta fast, cyan standard. We have activity bar. So we know about all the indicators already. So I'll close the pendulum template. Now coming back to hop-on template, now I think we have covered every signal in the hop-on template, and we saw various ways of using memory line. We can use daily chart memory to enter a day trade on fine tune. We could use memory breakout like we took in case of UNG, or we could also use memory to stop taking a trade, again like in case of UNG. So hop on template, we covered all the signals. Let's now go back to hop off, make sure all the signals we covered. Hop off template is used for exiting swing trades or long-term investment, not for day trade. For day trade, we use the fine tune for entry exit. Okay, for hop off, we have traffic light, memory line, the different direction lines. Sometimes the memory lines may compress the chart, so you may delete it for a while. So we have the slow direction line, slow, very slow, fast, standard. We have the headwind signal, upper boundary, lower boundary, a protection signal which is unique to hop off. So just by looking at the protection, I know it must be hop off template, because only hop off template has this kind of protection signal. We have activity. So we have covered all the signals in hop off template that is used to exit trades, either profit or with initial stop loss, break even, trailing stop loss. We have covered hop on, hop off, pendulum. We have covered backdrop. Let's look at backdrop again once more. It is the weekly chart that gives a confirmation on the daily trade. It has upper band is not traffic light now, backdrop candle color, which is same as this candle coloring backdrop. Cyan is bullish, magenta bearish, yellow neutral. We have the headwind signal now in weekly chart, memory signal, relative performance, memory again, ascending memory. USO. Interestingly, USO on weekly chart, just chanced upon this, it came down last few days, you know, after the Brexit vote or even before that. In the weekly chart, this is weekly chart for pendulum chart, standard template, standard interval is weekly. Last 1 to 4 weeks it came down, but it precisely hit the memory and then it went up. So this is how we use memory to enter trade. Just like in case of WLL, we use a memory in daily chart to enter a day trade. One could use this memory line on weekly to enter a swing trade. So let me look at USO for a moment through at a glance, which is hop on template and backdrop template. So if we were watching it, see on weekly, when precisely it hit this memory line, one could actually enter a swing trade on day trade on the daily chart or fine tune, and could already come out with some profit. So that's how again memory can be used. So we cover, coming back to backdrop, all the signals: backdrop band, backdrop candle color, headwind signal, relative performance, memory, and activity. Let's look at what are the template we have. We saw the decision template. Decision template has the stretch release signal, stretch and stretch release, oversold, very oversold, and the release of the rubber band stretch. That signal that we saw, we can use in effectively taking double bottom kind of trades based on exhaustion. So this is again USO, and if you look at it at this level, you can see a double bottom is formed. Now we also have the memory line, and we have these pivot points. The cyan color is the yearly pivot levels and yellow is quarterly pivot levels. Sometimes that can be used as exit point if prices far above, for example, upper boundary. If it is already above upper boundary, then these pivot points give us additional profit taking levels or moving stop levels. Usually profit taking levels. So in this case, we have all these lines. If we for a moment delete the yearly pivot lines, because yearly pivots compress the chart, they calculate all the years price level. So I'm trying to select the yearly pivot, just delete it. I want to see at this point. It is a double bottom. First time it came overstretch, stretch release. But as I indicated, the stretch release is a fast signal. In itself, I will not use it to take a long trade, but note that there was a exhaustion, extreme high and very high activity when it was coming down. So probably everybody who had to sell had sold, but we don't know. So we don't enter a trade just based on this signal. I'm not able to see exactly how the weekly chart looked like this, whether I don't know if there was a headwind signal. If a headwind signal was there, we might have entered it, but if not, just like we saw in case of SPY, it made a double bottom. We already have exhaustion, we have a double bottom, we have a stretch release. Our stop loss is very narrow, this just below this red candle, using protection, and then we will book half profit, even maybe even at this yellow line or slightly after that, then put a trailing stop. And we may still be in the trade if it is a long-term investment, or we may be stopped out with profit by protection signal using hop off. So this is again how the stretch release signal can be used to catch double bottom at an optimal point. Interestingly, the stretch release also happened after very high activity in an up candle. So that was good. But remember, when it was red candle flow color, here the flow candle color is traffic light, I think, traffic light. We are not going to catch a falling knife. So we will not enter a short until the actual stretch release signal comes. So that was the decision template. And what other template we have? We have the fine-tune template and power tune template, that is for daily chart. We have a clean chart. Sometimes people like to make notes on a chart, so it's a clean chart. Why don't we look at this company? Today we saw 3M did well. 3M did well. It's actually the best performer in Dow Jones Industrial Average. So we can look at it. Why don't we look at MMM using icon, that is 3M company. And what I am looking for is there any event or not, upcoming earnings or not. Before taking a trade, I always look if earnings is very close, and if earnings is very close, I don't want to initiate a position in that stock. Maybe with options, some creative option trading, but not using stock. So 3M at a glance, in last 1 year you can see it went up by 10%, whereas SPX, the S&P index, went down slightly, almost unchanged. So 3M outperformed, and we can see at broad level how the stock and the index moved. But I am looking for events. The next event is earnings release, BMO 26 July. So it has some time, about 1 month time. So I could potentially take a trade, surely day trade, but also swing trade. And we can see for last 52-week range, it is actually at the high end size. So I don't know if I want to take a long-term investment here. Our approach is, as I explained, using pendulum low, we try to catch the bottom of the trade, like we did for USO or UNG, or we saw in WLL. There is an opportunity now. Sorry, not WLL, fold, headwind long opportunity at pendulum low. But probably 3M, I am not looking to enter a long-term investment long, which is already at very high. But no harm looking at it. It is the symbol is MMM, 3M. So let's look at 3M. I close this chart. It is good to see just with at a glance in the beginning. Let's look at it through at a glance. It is very fast to have the weekly and the daily come together, and the checklists in trade signal book, which has this checklist for go with flow, headwind, bounce, most of the signals are here on this template, the compound template, where here you can see again, just by looking at it, the right hand side is hop on because of this movement is here, left hand side, and the right hand side will be backdrop. Okay, it is taking some time to load, no issue. So we see here it is at pendulum high. We can just apply the pendulum template to confirm. Yes, it is at pendulum high. So cyan color, green color, pendulum high. It is having kind of wild move. It is having lower low and having higher high. That is wild move. Visually we can see, but I can illustrate it more. It is having kind of funnel. It is making higher high and lower low. So there is no clear trend. Probably it will fall down. When this kind of wild moves happen at the very top, it is probably people are selling the stock and shorting the novice trader. I mean, stopping out the novice shorts. So it's not a very convenient time to take a short trade because it is getting stopped out. As we can see, it's having higher high but lower low. So shorts entered are getting stopped out, longs entered are also getting stopped out, but we are not looking for that. We are not looking for long-term investment in this. Now, if we look at the right-hand side of the chart, there is no direction because no direction. It has highs are higher but lows are lower, so no clear direction. There is no go with flow trade opportunity in that case, and there is no headwind signal, so we will not take the trade. But it came out in icon as one of the best performers today. So what we could have done, we could have looked at it in real time using 5-minute fine-tune chart in the beginning of the day. That is how icon could potentially alert us of a good day trade opportunity. Because I guess MMM, if at the end of the day was the best performer on DJI, it was probably best performer from the early morning itself. That is how usually stocks move. So it is taking a while to load. Let it load. Then we will see if using fine tune there was a day trade opportunity in MMM. And in this case, we will not find it using Sonar or Explorer, but find it using icon. Okay, in this case, no, we didn't have any opportunity, and this is also how the system can save us from entering a trade that doesn't go anywhere. So this is fine-tuned template using 5-minute on MMM. On Dow Jones Industrial, it is well performer, but we can see that it opened here, blue line, and green line. We remember last day green is high, so last day high, red is last day's low, magenta is last day's close. So today it opened above green, so it's gap, but it is not a large enough gap to take a gap trade. So we could look for a early range breakout trade. So after some time of trading, this early range cyan, early range high, and in this case early range low is coinciding with the open. So we have early range high and early range low formed. We could take a breakout trade if it broke out of the early range day trade, early range breakout day trade, which didn't actually happen until the very end of the day. At the end of the day, we are not going to initiate a day trade. We would like to take the trade in the first half of the day using early range breakout. So it didn't break out, but it was the best performer in Dow Jones Industrial. So again here, this is how the stretch release could be used. We saw it opened here, went up to early range high, came down, and then it gave a stretch release signal. Remember, this is a 5-minute chart, so it became stretched, gave a stretch release as opening price level, and how much narrow the stop loss is. If you have entered a long here as a day trade, then our stop loss will be just below recent low, so only this distance, and for day trade the profit target will be these pivot levels. So half profit could be taken at the mid of the early range, mid range, and this is much more than the risk taken. So half profit will be exited here. If the remaining is held till the end, the full trade, because it is a day trade, will be exited at the end of the day. So this didn't have a early range breakout trade, though it had a gap, but the gap was very small. So if the gap is so small, we don't consider taking a gap day trade, but it had a stretch release reversal day trade entry. And again, the stretch release is extremely efficient in catching the bottom in a day trade, but in itself we don't use it unless it is supported by additional levels, like in this case opening price and early range low, also same level in this case, acts as considerable points of support and resistance. So that would have allowed us to take the stretch release bullish long trade here. Now we also saw fold went up a lot today, so let's look at fold. And we could have found fold also from our quote list. If somebody mentioned fold to you or me, and then we had it in icon, we'll be tracking it that it was one of the best performer of today, ending the day with large percentage. So this is how fold looks on fine tune. Last day close was here. Last day close, last day high was here. Last day low was this red line. So it opened in between last day high and last day low. It's not a gap. Open is here. Then the early range formed, and now we could take a early range breakout trade. So our stop loss will be at the other side of early range here, and then our profit target will be probably somewhere around the green line. Now the green line was never hit. Instead, in the day, all these white lines called pause lines will be formed. Once the pause lines form, we should move our target and book some profit at the pause line and probably leave the trade. These pause lines form when the stock is not moving, it is pausing at certain levels, and if we see multiple pause lines form, though we intended to book profit at the green line, we don't want to take risk. Either we can move stop to break even, that is at early range high, or just book profit at pause level, move on to next trade. Again, that is how icon could have helped us identify an opportunity in fold and take a trade and come out with some profit. In the same way, yesterday, if we had taken an early range breakout trade, yesterday the stock opened here, the blue level, tried to go up from the early range high, early range low, then it came below early range low. This will be a entry point for early range breakout entry. Stop loss will be at the other side of early range high, which was never touched. Our profit target will be equal distance to the profit. If that is not touched, once the white line starts forming, we'll book profit here. So yesterday also early range breakout, but a short direction trade will make profit because it broke below early range low, and today early range high.
All right, let me contact him and see what's up. I think maybe his internet might have cut out. Okay, looks like his computer froze, but he will be logging back on here in just a moment. Take this opportunity to grab a drink or a snack or whatnot, and he should be back on here in just a minute or two. All right. While he's away, for those of you that are not taking a break, again, we are doing a special promotion for attending this webinar where we'll provide you with 3 months in total of Superior Profits Q Global for the price of 1. And typically, what that allows you to do is it really gives you enough time to start understanding how the system works, use it within your MetaStock workflow, get used to the explorations, the templates, etc. Also, take part in a lot of his training. Now, this 4-hour special training that he is doing is actually just one of many different training webinars that he does. And typically, they are all housed on his website, superiorprofit.co. And we were just lucky enough to be able to steal a few hours of his time and actually get one through our MetaStock webinar platform. So let us know if you have questions on it. We would love to set you up with this trial. Again, it is buy 1 month, get 2 additional months at no cost. And you can get that from us either by emailing me, and I believe I sent out a message a little bit earlier with our contact information. So metastock.com/sales chat. Now they are currently closed, but we'll be back bright and early in the morning. Or you can just shoot me an email directly, hunter.smith@metastock.com. And like I said, he will be restarting here in just a moment or two. We'll be right back on.
Okay, if you cannot see my screen, fine. Let it try. Let the system try. In between, if there is any question, I can try to answer that.
Okay, it just popped up.
And meanwhile, I look through my system. We have covered at a glance, that is weekly backdrop and daily hop on together. We have covered backdrop. We have covered clean chart. Clean chart I was going to show is just a clean chart with candle, and it has the memory line and some additional line, which is called watermark. There is a blog that I posted recently in Superior Profit blog. It is accessible through the home site www.superiorprofit.co. Going to education and blog, there you will see this clean chart explained with watermark. As we try to take double top, double bottom, triple top, triple bottom trades, this watermark helps us see clearly whether the last high watermark or low watermark was broken, or it did close to that and then reversed. Then we could take a double top, double bottom reversal trade using stretch release at that watermark level. That's the clean chart. Decision template we have covered. Fine tune template we just covered for day trade. Hop off we have covered for swing trade and long-term investment. Hop on we have covered the primary template for deciding to go long or short using swing or long term. Then we have covered pendulum template. We have another template like fine tune, which is called power tune for 5 minute also, 5 minute interval, that has similar signals to fine tune, but instead of using the daily range lines like last day high, last day low, last day close, today's open, early range, pause lines, it uses the pivot levels for intraday chart. We saw in decision template we use quarterly and yearly pivot. The power tune uses the intraday pivot levels. That's the only difference between fine tune and power tune. Mostly I use fine tune if someday price goes above, say, last day high and there is no immediate profit taking point I can see in fine tune, then only I use power tune to have additional profit taking points. So you can say power tune to 5 minute chart is somewhat similar to the quarterly and yearly pivot levels in decision chart, which is daily. Then the last template I have, which I couldn't cover, is option trading. For option traders, it is important to know when option prices are high or low. It's not just enough to know whether the stock is high or low. The option price is decided by implied volatility, and though we don't have the exact implied volatility calculation as per some other platform, we have an approximate calculation. So in option trading template, the candles are colored using option price. So if it is high, it is again cyan. If it is low, it is magenta. I forget, I have to check it. It is either colored by uncertainty or option price, and then option price is also there as an indicator that is used to decide if we want to, for example, if you want to take a long trade in a stock, say fold, we saw there is a potential headwind long opportunity. Now we can just outright buy the stock, but if we are trying to trade it using option, I will also open it using option trading template to see option price is high. If option price is high, instead of buying call, I might short the put or use a short put vertical to reduce risk. That is how I use the option trading. It is useful only for option traders. Otherwise, the hop on and at a glance template, decision templates are enough. So those are all the templates we have, a lot of templates, but catering to the need of every trader, be it long-term investor, day trader, swing trader, and logically grouped. So only look at certain signals, consistently color-coded, and take action. So we have then come to end of all the topics. I wanted to go through some more trades in the community, but if the internet is so slow, probably we cannot do that. We can do it in another session. Hunter, if you still cannot see the screen, then probably we could end the session for today.
Well,
Unless there
we
are some
actually,
questions.
so we can see your screen now.
Okay, lovely. That is good. That is good. Now I actually have the fine-tune template open for LLY, but let me see if I can open it with fold again. Or let me close it. Fine-tune template has intraday chart. It may take more bandwidth. Let me just open fold with at a glance, and then I will open it with option trading to see whether the option price is high or low. Okay, this is fold. We saw there is a potential long opportunity, headwind long with a small stop loss. Let me just show clean chart once. I will not replace any chart. Okay, so this is what I was telling. Clean chart is simple clean candle with these watermark levels. So we see that there was no exact double bottom here. No double, but here we can see a top was formed, and watermark level, high watermark was formed. Then price went very close to it, and then if it came down with a stretch release bottom, which we can find from decision template, we could take a short and make very large profit. Now in MetaStock, we have grouped these templates with these logical indicators, but you can combine them. If you wanted to see stretch release on this signal, it's no difficulty. We could just open, let me do that also to show for new MetaStock users. If we open it using decision template, I will not replace anything and hope it doesn't crash. Because of my slow internet, I will get rid of the daily weekly for now. Okay, now suppose I want the watermark along with stretch release, and I don't want to see this yearly pivot or quarterly pivot. I could delete that and come to the clean chart template, select the watermark, drag, press Ctrl, the plus symbol comes, release it. Now I have watermark and stretch release on the same chart. And it is very useful to catch double top, double bottom when a price comes to a watermark level like here, and then give a stretch release. It gives us a reasonable reward risk ratio. In this specific case, this candle had a lower tail and upper tail both, so it was indecisive. We will not enter it on this day, but we could enter it on the later days, or we could have similar opportunity in other stocks. So for example, here a watermark level was formed after a very sharp drop, then price came to that level and then gave a stretch release, and exhaustion was already there because of extreme activity at this drop. So this is a more reliable long stretch release opportunity at watermark low. I will not take this opportunity, though in hindsight it fell. As of this day, it had an indecisive candle. I could keep it in watch list in icon and catch it in one of these days. That's fine. That is for more active traders. But for those who are just coming back from office running Sonar, they could trade it on this day. It's a very reliable low risk trade, and we can see initial profit could be taken somewhere in the middle, and then the rest could be the let profit run with a trailing stop using protection signal. So that was clean chart template and how to combine some of the signals in MetaStock. And once you combine, you can go to File and save it as your own template. So you can just save as, say, Sagar's template stretch plus watermark, and you can save it. And next time you can just apply that template. It should start with Sagar's templates stretch plus watermark. If you apply, I replace the existing chart, it will bring out that template. So that is how MetaStock makes it easy to create your own custom template if you want to combine. But we have already logically grouped it, so probably you will not need it most of the time, but you can if you want. I will close this. I'll close this also. Okay, now we are back to at a glance. Right hand side we know it's backdrop, and this is hop on the left hand side, and we saw there is a potential long opportunity for fold at a pendulum low, because this is cyan color headwind, it shows it must be at pendulum low. Green would be just headwind long. So at pendulum low it's a good, probably a good opportunity, we don't know, but if we want to trade we could just buy the stock. It's not much high price, $5 something, it's low price stock, so we could buy the share easily. And or we could trade it with option. For trading with option we would like to see the option pricing template. So I just apply the template, option trading. I will not replace any chart. Okay, now what we have here at the top is the traffic light, and again you see every template looks different, and that is intentional. Just by looking at the template in 1 second I know what template it is. It's option trading, and this is the uncertainty. I think it's uncertainty. The color coding is of the candle here is uncertainty, so uncertainty is high. Let me just make sure. This is one of the new templates. So the expert properties, uncertainty, yes, it's colored by uncertainty. So again cyan is high side, green is high side, magenta low is lower side, yellow is neutral. So when uncertainty is high, option price is likely to be higher. You could confirm it with your brokerage platform, because different platforms use different calculation, but in MetaStock this is kind of using the past data, but it tries to show what is the option pricing or the uncertainty or the volatility, you can say, kind of implied volatility, but using a different calculation. So I see option price is high. So if I wanted to take a long trade using this fold headwind long bullish trade, I could probably, instead of buying outright call or call vertical, I could probably short the put or short put vertical, thereby having the volatility also in our favor. If we sell something which is expensive, when it goes up we will profit in two ways. Firstly, the stock will go up, that will add to delta, to go into a little bit technical, and that will give us profit. Also the option price will collapse because of volatility collapse, and that will profit us. So this is again the template used only for option trading. We also have the option boundary that can be used also in more creative way. I will not go into that right now. And at the bottom is actually the option pricing, option volatility or option pricing, that internally is used to color the bands with for uncertainty. So that was the last template, option trading template. I would like to go through some trades from the community. Let me see, I did put it in my sticky note. I wanted to go through some useful examples. 1 minute. Okay, we close MetaStock charts and we try to look for some trade opportunities that we took. One is DXPE, and that was also a trade that was posted in community and catching the pendulum low. Let's see here. Okay, now before that, Las Vegas. When we shared the sticky note, we see my computer is becoming sluggish, but we did see that Las Vegas Sands was a trade, the only trade in last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 trades posted in community. There were many other trades, but community posted 8. Out of that, only Las Vegas Sands exited with loss. And this is the post. I wanted to explain this losing trade also. Okay, battery is low. Battery plugged in. Okay. Okay, let us look at the first post. This is 7th June, Las Vegas Sands. Let me see, I can open the chart. Okay, it is becoming slower and slower. Let me skip the initial post. But on 7th June was this day. 7th June was actually this day. And now I'm using hop off because the trade exited with loss to explain the trade. But as of this day, if you see, it was a cyan candle. It was already in uptrend, and it was at a low level for its last yearly range that we could see from pendulum chart. But in this hop off template, we can see this was a cyan candle on 7th June. So this was a potential long opportunity with profit target at upper boundary and stop loss at the protection signal here, at the protection signal, this level. It did go very close to upper boundary, and in this case we have a declining white line. That's very slow direction line. As I explained, if there is a declining line, our profit target should be that. So it did go very close to that. Actually, our profit target would have been 48.33. It went to high of 48.19. But that is fine. Sometimes life is like that. If we are in office, it didn't hit the target. So it did come out and then try to go up again. Now, one way an alert trader could exit is by watching this memory line. And when it came to this yellow day, one could have exited, but that is for more alert trader. But normally, if we didn't exit this day, because we put our stop with discipline, at the protection level, this day it was stopped out. This is how, this is the only trade that stopped out, but it also shows the necessity of discipline, because when it stopped out, it actually gave a valid go with flow short signal, because by that already we have lower high and lower low. It broke down the stop. So the long would have exited. A short could be taken on intraday basis. I will not suggest entering short at end of day because it was already too close to lower boundary. On hindsight, it fell more, but that is fine. It is so close to lower boundary, so we will not trade it at the end of the day on this day. But if somebody was using real-time data or was using icon to keep an eye on the stocks, probably it was one of the worst performers of the day, and day trade could be taken on that day. So anyway, it fell down much more, so it was important to follow discipline and put the GTC order, good till cancelled order, on the protection line as well. So this was the only recent trade posted in community that exited with loss. Let me see, we can look at DXPE. DXPE was a stock that we could catch the lower pendulum low also. DXP Enterprise, I think. Okay, here I added multiple templates posted 21 days ago, and you know the templates by now. At a glance template is coming. Internet is slow. On the left hand side is hop on the right hand side is backdrop. This is as of the day of posting. I think this is the last example we'll take. And we can see on the daily chart, it was supported by memory line. And it came a lot low. On the weekly chart, backdrop color turned cyan, and we can see there was a double bottom, and there was exertion also in the weekly chart. Extreme high activity on weekly and exertion also on the daily chart, that is reflected in the weekly chart. It started to go up, gave a cyan candle. So as of this day, a long could be taken end of day or next day at open because it didn't gap up. That is how the chart looked like, and a profit could be taken at the yellow line. Again, as I mentioned, if a yellow line is declining and is coming before the upper boundary, probably some profit could be taken at the yellow line without waiting for it to go to the upper boundary. And we should make sure the reward risk ratio is acceptable, which was acceptable in this case. The reward was at least up to the yellow line, risk was just below the triangle, below this memory line. Relative performance was going up. So if this long was taken, okay, at that time we can see it was at pendulum low. So we could take it as an entry trade and hope that at least half profit will book as swing trade and maybe convert it into long-term investment. And on the decision template, we can see pendulum template showed it is at pendulum low. Decision template shows that it actually had a stretch release signal also. But fine, we just don't use stretch release signal to enter the trade. That is too fast signal to rely only on that. So we are fine to try to enter it on this day at the right edge of the chart, still confidently. How did it play out? Okay, so we had entered here, then it slightly came down, but it never hit our stop loss. Our stop loss was here. Then it went up, it hit the yellow line, and we are disciplined trader. So as of this day, we should book profit, at least half. I don't know yet what happened next. I'll see if that was posted, but as of this day, we have exited the trade, half at least with profit, and put at least break-even stop or trailing stop on the rest to make it an almost risk-free trade, unless it gaps down. So that's how we again caught the low of this trade. Okay, so now we finished almost 3 hours 55 minutes. I think I will stop now. And Hunter, if you would like to add something, or we will close the day. I'm again apology for the disturbance because of the internet, but I hope it was a useful session. And I'll pass it back to Hunter now. If there is any question, I'll take that. Or back to you, Hunter.
Great. Well, again, thank you so much, Sagara. Anyone that has questions, please put them in the chat box. We'll wait around a minute to see if you guys have any questions. Been trying to answer as many as we could as we went. While we're waiting for any possible questions, I'll go ahead and cover the special offer for this 4-hour training session. All of the methods that Sagar has explained, all of the explorations, as well as the templates and all the signals, etc., will be available in the Superior Profit Q Global add-on. It's actually available now at $99 a month. Now, what we want to provide you with is the ability to make sure that this fits into your trading style and have plenty of time to really apply the system, go through some of Sagar's training, many videos and books, and though they're more added all the time, all the training that he does. So we're actually offering a 3-month trial. So if you pay for the first month, you get 2 additional months at no cost of Superior Profit Q Global. This is a really good system. It's good for all types of traders. Works on all markets, and as Sagar has explained, there's a lot of and he's actually shown you that the website with all of the videos and the training material behind it. It's one of the most robust, I would say, support systems that we have here at MetaStock as far as add-ons are concerned. He is always willing to help and walk you through different parts of the trade if it's not already covered within his methodology, his ebooks or his videos, etc. Now, if you want to take advantage of that trial, a couple of ways to do it. You can email me at hunter.smith@metastock.com. I actually sent that in a chat a little bit earlier. Tomorrow you can come into www.metastock.com/sales chat to take advantage of the offer. Just make sure you mention this webinar. Or you can contact Cigar directly, superiorprofit.co, where you can also not only look at the system, but you can also start looking at some of that training and really get a feel for the community that backs this system. Doesn't look like, Cigar, we have any questions, so I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. One came in at the last second. Let's see here. For the S&P 500 on January 29th, can this kind of trade be avoided?
Okay, let me try to open. I got that question. Let me try to open SPY at a glance and see the date. Hunter, which was the date again, Hunter?
Let's see here, the January 29th. Can this kind of trade be avoided, or will it be stopped out?
Okay, I hope you can see my screen.
Yep.
Jan 29. Jan 29 is this day. Okay, good question. I don't have the benefit of seeing the weekly right now, but this is a very good question to clarify one more point. See, as of this day, if we don't look at the right side of the chart, the question is it already in uptrend? Yes, the two direction lines tilted up, and if we consider this as a high, it went higher. But when we define trend, we look at multiple things. Let me repeat them again. One is in a downtrend, we'll have lower high, lower low. So this is in clear downtrend. And in this area, we can say higher high, higher low. We have uptrend. And both the direction lines will go up in an uptrend. And sometimes the first will come down, then start going up again. Those are the optimal entry points. Now, a third thing we look at when defining direction is where the stock is relative to the two boundary lines. When a stock is in downtrend, a stock will tend to remain, liquid stocks, between the midpoint, that's value area, and the lower boundary. In an uptrend, a stock will remain between value area and upper boundary. So if we keep that also in mind, at this point, as of this day, this cyan color, probably that's why the question came, that was there a trade opportunity first of all. Now, it is not strictly speaking in uptrend, because in uptrend, a stock will tend to remain between value area in upper boundary. So this is not an uptrend, therefore a go with flow logic will not apply. So we wouldn't enter. Now, of course, if somebody enters the trade, a stop loss will be somewhere here and it will get stopped out, but we have no go with flow trade opportunity here, because go with flow trade opportunity we take only in a proper uptrend. So here only trade could be using this headwind, but I discourage taking it because it's a indecision template, indecision candle, but we could take it using stretch release. I think we saw it earlier using this. Actually, in clean chart, we can see that it's a watermark is broken. It's a fake breakout, and a stretch release was on 12th February. We will not take a go with flow long trade here on 29th Jan. I hope that clarifies the question.
Okay. Perfect. It doesn't look like we have any other questions at this point. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. This has been recorded, so we'll go ahead and edit out some of the pauses, etc., and then send it back out to you for your review. Those of you who registered for the webinar and who've been here. Again, thank you all for joining our webinar this afternoon. Thank you, Sagar, for getting up early and holding this long trading session. It's been very educational. If you guys have any questions there in the audience, please feel free to email us or Sagar, or give us a call, come into sales chat tomorrow, etc., and we'll go from there. Again, Sagar, thank you very much. And to everyone, as always, happy trading.
Yeah, thank you, Hunter. Thank you, everybody, and look forward to seeing you in the next class that we organize. Thank you. Have a good day.